How's it going, everybody? My name is Sai, and today we're talking about Beartooth's new album, Below. Now, I was planning a full album reaction to this, but about halfway through I decided to turn the camera off because I realized I wasn't getting much out of it. And it's not to say that it's a bad album, more to say that it is a completely expected album, and I felt like there wasn't a whole lot I could add to it. Let's talk about why that is, because that's kind of indicative as to my ranking with the album. So, in short, if you like Beartooth, if you're a fan of Beartooth, congratulations, this is more Beartooth. There's a couple more variations on the platform. I do feel like they are regressing towards a earlier and definitely noticeably heavier sound. However, on the flip side, it's more Beartooth, so if you're not a fan of Beartooth, this isn't going to do much for you. There's just some things I like on here. Like I said, I'm actually a fan of Beartooth, so I dig the sound for sure. I like the halfway supportive, halfway deep dive into depression lyrics. I like the speedy mix of hardcore sounding instrumentation with more metalcore vocals and occasional experiments here or there. For example, in this album there's a lot of bluesy riffs, there's a lot of Sabbath influence, which I'm really here for. I'm really here for the more straightforward heavy metal aspects of the album. But on the flip side, it always gets old. It never fails to get old for me, at least before the album is over. And this has been the case with all their albums before, except for Disgusting, which, can you really count that? It's an EP. So it's shorter, therefore my attention span doesn't have to be quite as long for it. But in the case of Below, I just feel like that, once again, we have more Beartooth. We have a lot of similar structures here. Really fast pounding verses. God, words are failing me on this one. Really fast pounding verses with a melodic sung chorus in a lot of regards. Most experiments are with the sound and not the structure, which, it works when it works. The last riff is an interesting song in that it's kind of almost like a doom track, so to speak. It's got very kind of slow, thought out, grooving riffs. No vocals at all. It really is the last riff, as you'd put it. We got songs like Fed Up, which I think the production is a little bit interesting on that one. The kind of main sung vocal on the verses and the intro sounds like it's a stage mic, essentially, with very little production on it. So kind of like an older lo-fi sound with some very heavy delay, like it's actually echoing off of club walls. I thought the sound was really nice and kind of led it to the whole thing. And I think the production on the entire album is interesting in this way, where it's like super raw. Like it is produced. It's definitely produced. It has like a much meatier low end than you get from something completely raw off the cuff. But at the same time, it has certain aspects of the mix stripped out to make this really slightly tinny and definitely distinctively punky sound, with exception to the parts where we start getting into the more groovy riffs. Dominate is another standout for me. Again, this song just goes way harder than it has any right to be. It kind of mixes up the formula a little bit with mixing in some blast beats and some outright death sections, which are really well at home with the rest of the album. So I really enjoyed that, and I'd like to see a little bit more of that in the future, honestly, because while not everything has to be, mind-numbingly heavy, I do believe that when they're doing the heavier sections, they're a little bit more entertaining and inventive than their clean sections. Their clean sections are really great for your catchy sing-along choruses. They really uplift you, but at the same time, they feel a little derivative, so I don't find myself getting totally lost in them. And so the more they're used, the less I'm usually thrilled with the Beartooth album. And in this case, they're used again quite a bit. It's not like I said, it's not like a total deal breaker, but it is something to keep note of if you're hearing all the buzz around this album like I did. There's a lot of buzz that was, super heavy, the heaviest album they've ever put together, and or just a return to form for them. Yes and no. Like I said, it still has a lot of the, like I said, clean vocal sections that are not even raspy in any sense, just like really upbeat and jovial minus the lyricism, of course, which is usually either push forward and grow stronger, or life is totally shit and everything's fucked up and I'm pissed. And the lyricism, you know, once again, not all inspiring. It's usually better than it sounds on paper, which on paper, you know, I say it's, you know, diving into depression and vices and overcoming obstacles to become bigger, or getting just kind of fed up with the world around you. And what we can do despite our fallbacks, but at the same time, you know, it's well written. There's some good word usage here or there. It isn't usually tacky. It doesn't fall apart and devolve into curse words very often. It's just solid, and I think a lot of this album is pretty solid. This is a solid album. Definitely, I think one of their heavier albums, but at the same time, it has pretty much every drawback that Beartooth has ever had, and does not manage to get away from that. It's just kind of good to see another band return unscathed and produce a quality album that's sure going to impress all the fans. So while I actually hesitate to give this one the banger badge, honestly, because there's only a few songs that I'm really throwing on my playlist, because I already have a bunch of Beartooth on there, and honestly, a lot of these songs don't bring much new to that formula. There are a few cuts, especially on the first half, for sure, that I'm really into. I want to see more of that Sabbath action. Like I said, some of the breakdowns had a really kind of grooving Tony Iommi style, fucking chug style, with some just more inventive licks, and I really liked it. I wish there was a bit more of it on the tail half. I think I've got most of my thoughts out of the way on this one, though. It's a short review because, like I said, it's the same reason why I stopped the reaction. There wasn't a whole lot to say. It's Beartooth. If you like Beartooth, there's more Beartooth. Here's some new things. They lose some cool things. Is what it is. It's pretty much a solid 7 out of 10 album. It's a good album. If you're a fan, you're definitely going to like it. Go pick it up. If you're not a fan, not sure this is going to change your mind, I'm going to go with probably not on this one. But either way, you guys tell me what you think down below. If I'm fucking crazy, if I need to go listen to it 20 more times, obviously let me know. If you agree with me, obviously, too, because, you know, ego boost, we love that shit. I also got my socials down below if you want to keep up with the channel and keep up with what's going on. For those of you who follow my vocals, over on PTB Empire's channel today, we are dropping a cover of God Save the King by Stoneside, which you can also check my review on. It will be until the end of this video, so you can check that out. And hopefully you guys see it, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Outside of that, guys, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.